Good morning. I'm attorney Ben Crump, and along with attorney Natalie Jackson, attorney Paul Grinke, attorney Aaron Deacle, we have the honor with the rest of our legal team of representing the family of Kevin Rodriguez Zavala, who, as you all know, almost 2 weeks ago, was tragically killed while riding on Universal Studios' Epic Universe Stardust Racers roller coaster. We're very thankful for the outpouring of support and prayers that has been given to Kevin's family, this very close-knit, loving family. We are thankful to everybody who came to celebrate his life on last Friday and got to witness his last sword fight with the Star Wars lifesavers, that they all had incredible photos at the funeral services that was symbolic of how much Kevin loved Star Wars. Kevin, as they often said, was just full of life. And even though he was born with spinal cord atrophy, he never used that as an excuse. Never once. As we said, he drove, he had a bachelor's degree, he was an independent person, and he loved amusement parks, roller coasters. He was an enthusiast. It helped make him feel free. And so we say all of that as the backdrop as we talk to you about this tragedy in more detail. Present with me from his family today is his mother and father, Anna.
This page is not set up for me to read.
His mother and father, Anna and Carlos. His sister, Lisa, and her husband, Anthony. His brother, Michael. His girlfriend, Javalise, and her mother, Liz. And their family is so close-knit and special in so many ways, but there's something missing, and that is Kevin, who was the light of their family. He was the spark, and all of them will tell you, every moment that passes, he's missed even more. And so with that, we want to talk about, since the press conference last week, others have come forward, not only witnesses, but more importantly, you have had other riders have come forward to talk about that they too sustained injuries from this ride. So we start off with the additional injured riders. Since the family went public, multiple riders have come forward reporting their own injuries on the Stardust Racers roller coaster. These injuries are consistent. Problems with restraints, riders being thrown forward, hitting hard structures. This shows that Kevin's case was not an isolated incident. Let me repeat that. The multiple Stardust Racers roller coaster riders who have come forward to the family and our office leads us to believe that Kevin's case was not an isolated incident. Eyewitness corroboration. Kevin's girlfriend, who was on the ride with him, described how Kevin was thrown forward due to restraint issues. Other riders' stories align with her account, reinforcing the allegations that the safety systems on this ride were inadequate. Social media accounts. People have shared their own experiences with our team and on social media describing similar injuries and restraint problems on the same ride. These firsthand accounts confirm that Kevin's tragedy was not an isolated incident, which begs the question, was this part of a pattern consistent with what appears to have caused Kevin to be killed? This, we believe, is equally important, very important, as Attorney Jackson and Attorney Grinke and I, Attorney Dinkel, we continue to study every aspect of this case. The ride history presents an alarming timeline, very alarming timeline. The Stardust Racers just opened on May 22nd, 2025. Yet, in just a few months, there have already been multiple complaints of injuries long before Kevin's death. Even before the ride opened, on April 30th, 2025, a woman complained in a recently filed lawsuit that while riding the Stardust Racers roller coaster, her head shook violently and slammed again into her seat's headrest throughout the duration of the ride. This is before the ride even opened. They had a complaint of a lady talking about she had restraint issues. This is very consistent with the medical examiner's statement that Kevin died from multiple blunt force impact injuries. It is consistent, very consistent, and that is what is so troubling for this family. That people had complained about this, and you're going to hear from the family in just a minute about how people, what they sent them, what they reached out to them on social media, and how they forewarned that something like this was going to happen if Universal Studios didn't deal with these safety issues. And why weren't these warnings taken seriously? They believe if they were, Kevin might be here today. Missed warnings and accountability. The family believes Universal missed multiple warning signs before Kevin's death. Before I have the family come up, I'm going to ask Attorney Grinke, who is my co-director of litigation along with Attorney Jackson, to come and talk about some other troubling things about the whole dynamic of what's going on with people complaining and why warning signs we believe should have been addressed in a better manner. And he'll talk a little bit about what's going on with the investigations to this point. Attorney Grinke, if you would.
Hey, good morning. We are back here before you so quickly because we believe that this is a matter of great public concern. And as our legal team has begun our investigation into Kevin's loss, we have great concerns about the safety of this ride to the greater public. And so we want to keep you apprised of what we're seeing. and we will continue to do so. One thing I want to add is that in addition to these other instances that have been personally reported to our legal team and that we have seen on social media, where similar injuries have occurred, how much more important should it have been for Universal to investigate these injuries and see how the ride might affect someone in a wheelchair or with a disability? It's been reported, and we are seeing that large companies like Universal self-report and self-police themselves with respect to any type of government oversight. The instances that I've seen that Universal has self-reported with respect to this very ride and other rides at the Epic Universe in the short time it's been open have been very self-serving. It seems convenient to me that each of the few reports that they have published or given to the state of Florida regarding injuries have all been given to pre-existing conditions. We're not so sure about that. We will be calling upon greater government oversight of large companies like Universal instead of just letting them self-report. We'll talk to you about it as things progress, but we are in open communications with state and local officials in that regard.
Thank you very much, Attorney Greinke. And to just be direct, they've self-reported 4 times now. Three about this ride where people complained of injuries. And in those occasions, they've all concluded that it was based on prior pre-existing injuries. So it's almost as if they're washing their hands. But we believe that these were warning signs that there was something wrong with the design of this ride, and that they tried to blame the victims. They didn't want to say, well, maybe we have to go back and critically assess this ride and the design of this ride. It was a suggestion, and we pray, as I said at the prior press conference, that Universal Studios isn't suggesting this, that Kevin disabilities was the cause of his death, because that is offensive and very insulting, not only to Kevin, not only to disabled citizens across the world, but it's insulting especially to his family for them to suggest that. Very, very insulting, because they assisted him with his girlfriend in getting on the ride. If they believe that disabled people should not be on this roller coaster, then why would you assist him in getting on the roller coaster? No, you can't justify this by trying to blame the victim. You cannot justify this. And so this is very emotional. We're going to have his sister and brother and their family come before you to talk about people outreaching to them and to give you a direct statement from a young woman who had been previously injured in this ride in May when it first opened. And so they had noticed, they knew about the potential problem. And she told them that you all need to do something about this because somebody is going to be seriously injured, or worse, they're going to be killed. So she told them, she gave them notice, and she believed that the employees already knew that there were problems with this roller coaster. And it begs the question, what did Universal do about it? What did they do about it? If they did something about it, then maybe Kevin wouldn't have been lost in this manner. So at this time, we're going to call his sister, Lisa, his brother, Michael, and his brother-in-law, Anthony, to come and talk with you.
This is the message we received from the GoFundMe page. And I just want to go ahead and say thank you for all the ones who have been supporting us. The message reads, "This is so tragic. I also wanted to share with you that I too was severely injured at Universal back in May. I too lost consciousness, suffered a concussion, injuries to my neck and spine. I warned the park representative that exactly something like this was going to happen to somebody. I have pictures of my injury, and I was taken to the emergency room after the incident. I too passed out, and my child had to watch me just flailing and my head hitting, and then had to be taken off, leaned against a wall where I had no vision, my eyelids fluttering rapidly. After about 30 minutes, they wheelchaired me through the park to their medical office on property. I told them they had a problem with these excessive speed launches and that someone is going to severely get injured or possibly lose their life. I know I was really scared. I also know I am not the only one who has been injured like this. They know. They have problems with these rides. The staff kept asking me, was it the first launch or the second launch? They know there's a problem."
Thank you very much, Lisa. And before you all leave, I obviously this is very emotional, and just the fact that people are telling the family that we told them they needed to do something about this is just heartbreaking to this family, to know that there were warning signs that should have been addressed. Furthermore, we have heard from many witnesses that night who reached out to the family, who they had them contact our law firm, who reached out to our law firm, talking about the chaotic scene after this tragedy. The fact that they said they witnessed Kevin's body completely slumped over, and that his head was against the metal bar. There was blood, and they talked about how the staff wasn't helping. It was chaotic, that they were not prepared to address an emergency. And so I know Lisa and her husband Anthony have been very concerned about this, talking to us and our team. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to talk about that, what you all have been hearing and witnessed.
Hi, my name is Anthony, Lisa's husband, brother-in-law to Kevin. Again, thank you for the support that we've been getting from the people out there that are going through this with us. Through one of my previous employments, we had a team. It was known as care team. Basically, our job was that when an incident were to happen, when a family was traveling, there will be a team specialized to go ahead and respond to such incident. Minor, major, whatever the event was. And we would receive additional training to be equipped to handle such situations. It's not to say that maybe if a team was there to assist Kevin that night, maybe something else could have been prevented, but at least be there for the family that is getting this news, and then it's difficult to process. Luckily, Javalise was able to give us a call that night, and we went to hospital rushing that night. But what if she wasn't able to do so? When will we find out? Such a team could be there to guide us, alleviate whatever it is, just support the family when something like this would happen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Kevin, do you want to try? Okay. Kevin was just saying to me, I'm sorry, Michael, Kevin is on my mind. His brother Michael was just saying to me, but he doesn't feel he can talk this morning, about if they had such a response care team, that they can't help but wonder if Kevin might have been saved if it wasn't so chaotic and seemed to be to them and many of the witnesses. So, well, we'll leave it there. It was just so chaotic. They have to determine if it was irresponsibility or not. That's on Universal to decide. The family's already contemplating so many things. One of the things that we continue to ask the public is to come forward if you experienced any issues while riding on this ride. The family is appreciative of everybody who has come forward, and we are trying to respond to everybody in a timely manner. But please help them get some peace by trying to get answers to know what happened. And the final people you will hear from this morning would be his mother and father, Anna and Carlos.
Good morning, guys. Thank you for being here today. The only thing I'm going to ask is this, not to you guys, but for Universal Studios and Epic Universe. Kevin was the type of guy that loved theme parks. So he rides roller coaster everywhere: Tampa, Disney, SeaWorld, Universal. And never something like that happened. The only thing I ask is for this is I need some answers. I mean, anything. I haven't received any phone calls, any emails, tests, anything from them. I mean, it's like nothing happened to them, but it happened to us. Please, please, we need to know what happened. Give us an answer, please. Give me a call. You need my phone number? Call me. I will let you know. Thank you, huh? Have a wonderful day. You want to say something, Mommy? In Spanish, she can help you out. Go ahead.
We miss him so much.
Como dijo mi esposo, lo que queremos son respuestas sobre la muerte de mi hijo.
Like my husband said, all we want is answers regarding my son's death.
Y queremos esa respuesta para honrarlo.
We want these answers so that we can be able to honor him.
Y estar tranquilos porque es tan difícil perder un hijo. No se lo deseo a nadie.
We want these answers so that we can have some peace. It's extremely difficult losing a son, and we do not wish this type of pain upon anybody.
Por favor, ayúdennos a tener esa respuesta, a saber qué fue lo que pasó y que nadie más pase por lo que nosotros estamos pasando.
Please help us get these answers so that we can know what happened and so that no one else and no other families have to deal with this like we are right now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Honor. And that just tells you what a loving, passionate family this is. They continue to say we want answers because we don't want this to happen to any other family. And we all need answers. We all need answers as a community because the other people who were complaining, they were not disabled people. And yet they were having problems with being injured on this ride. We need answers, and we're going to get them. We're going to get them. At this time, we will take your questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
Attorney Crump, regarding the lawsuit involving the woman who rode the coaster on April 30th, that lawsuit was settled very quickly. What does that tell you that Universal settled this lawsuit so quickly?
Well, there are many things that you can read into. It'll all be speculation. Many people speculate that they didn't want her to talk about what she experienced. But I will tell you, there are others who have come to us with similar, if not worse, complaints about injuries and so forth. They won't be able to silence everybody. What we need to do is be transparent. Hopefully they will encourage people to talk about the problems and issues they had with this ride, if they really believe safety is primary. That's what they've said. My grandmother told me when I was a little boy, your actions speak so loud, I need not hear your words. And that's what we're saying to Universal. Show us you care. Just don't say you care. Show us that you care about safety. Show us that you want to make certain, absolutely, that this doesn't happen to another one of your customers. We must make sure the consumers are safe. That's why when Attorney Greenkey and Attorney Jackson talk about self-reporting, it raises some questions. We have to make sure that people are taking the complaints seriously. We know this one lady, she did not believe Universal was taking the complaints seriously, at least from her perspective. She told them, if you all don't do something about this ride, people are going to be seriously injured, somebody's going to be killed. And she said this in May when the ride first opened. And we know she has a claim going, so they knew about it.
From the witnesses that
I'm sorry, repeat that question?
From the witnesses you've talked to, have you guys been able to hear from them anything about the first sign of trouble on the ride? I know you said
Yes.
that he was slumped over from a lot of the ride and unconscious, but
Oh,
what
yeah,
was the
from the
first
very beginning.
precipitating event that led to it?
So Kevin was fully conscious on the ride. It was the first dip. He lurched forward and hit his head on the first dip. And from then on, every other, it was a back and forth of hitting his head.
Multiple times.
And we keep talking about the blunt force injuries, but there were also lacerations.
And as soon as we get the autopsy report, we will share with you his extent of his injuries. They were extensive.
I just want to say, I'm so sorry for your loss. The attorneys, these other people that you're talking about, why haven't we heard from them until now? And do they regret not coming forward before Kevin's death?
I think that if they complained to the route officials, they felt that's what they were doing. They thought they were doing the right thing. You have to understand that Universal is a mammoth corporation, a billion-dollar corporation. These are just regular people like you and your family and your friends. They said the lady couldn't have made it more clear. 2 lost consciousness. I warned the park representatives that exactly something like this was going to happen to somebody. I have pictures of my injury. I was taken to the emergency room after the incident. I too passed out, and my child had to watch me just flailing and my head hidden. I mean, she talked about being wheelchaired through the park. She talked about, the problem with the excessive speed and the launches. She said that someone is going to be severely injured and lose their life. What more can a regular citizen do? The blame, or I should say, the responsibility lies at the feet of Universal, not at Kevin or his girlfriend, not at the disabled community, not at the previous riders who were injured. Accountability and responsibility lies at the feet of Universal Studios' Epic Universe.
Are we going to get a chance to hear from those other people directly at some point?
Well, people are, they are all on social media, but it's very difficult to come public and put yourself and your identity in front of everybody. So they are reaching out to the family. Obviously, I would want them to come forward and publicly speak, but the fact that they spoke to Universal should have been enough.
And they've all told us they'll get trial. They all told us they'll give depositions if litigants.
Yeah, and they all told the family they will, participate and assist in this depositions and so forth to their truths of what they experienced. But let's be clear about this. Let's don't put the burden on them. Let's don't put the burden on the people. The burden is on the corporation. They had all this information. They had the notice from this lady. They were supposed to do something. Notice is 2/3 of the law. Once you have notice, then you have an obligation to do something about it. What did they do about it when they got these complaints? That's the question. Yes, ma'am.
Question for Dr. Lisa. What was the response?
She's not talking.
Or maybe you can speak to it.
Sure.
What was the response time immediately following the end of the ride, and how soon were life-saving measures possibly performed?
Many of the witnesses say it took longer than they thought, but there'll be record of all that. We don't want to speculate. This is a $7.7 billion theme park built in 2022 and 2023. There's all kind of technology, all kind of surveillance. They should be able to tell us exactly blow by blow what happened. Why speculate about it? If witnesses feel they can give their accurate timelines, we invite them to do so. But again, the corporation knows. They know. We believe they should have video. They should have everything about what happened on their multi-billion-dollar theme park rides. They should know. But many people felt that it was chaotic, that nobody was doing anything, and that was very troubling to them. And when they got to see Kevin, his whole body slouched over and his head all bloody and the blood, they thought it was just absolutely horrific. And his girlfriend tragically witnessed it all right there beside him. She and all of the family are going through very intense counseling to try to deal with this. Yes, sir.
Mr. Crump, can you give us a quick update on when your independent inspection of the roller coaster might take place? And more importantly, the last news conference, you talked a little bit about how the focus might be on restraints. Could you tell us a little bit more about your team, what they're looking at regarding restraints, and if the roller coaster might need to be retrofitted, if that's even possible?
Well, we're looking at all manners of things, and I'm going to have Attorney Greinke follow up on this answer with me to talk about the experts that we are consorting with and when we're trying to get that investigation done, working with Universal lawyers. But the reality is this here. You got multiple people complaining about restraint issues. I mean, people who are perfectly healthy with no disabilities complaining about restraint issues of how their bodies were thrown all around. At some point, you have to ask the question, if there were design issues that should have been dealt with, if there were design issues that should have been addressed, the fact that they continue to tell us where there was nothing that malfunctioned, everything worked as it was supposed to work. But that still does not absolve you from liability and accountability if there were safety issues. I mean, I said there were safety issues, I believe, even before these individuals came forward. Because if not, then how did Kevin get killed on your ride? This was your ride. The consumers aren't supposed to die on your ride. They're not supposed to have their head bloody and unconscious on your ride. And so that's why we are trying to drill down and get to the crux of the matter. Why was Kevin Rodriguez Zavala killed on Universal Studios Epic Universe Stardust Racers roller coaster? That's the question. That is the question. Were warning signs missed? Attorney Greinke?
Hi, just to answer your question, with respect to our team of experts, our investigation with them has begun. Universal is cooperating with scheduling a time for our experts to gain access. We expect that to happen very shortly. Where we would like to see more cooperation is we've asked for the videos and surveillance videos, and those have not been provided to us, and nor have they agreed to share those with us yet. With respect to restraints, we and our experts are going to look at everything, okay? From the design to materials on the seat, materials of the restraints that did exist. Should there have been more restraints? Should there have been different restraints? Should there have been special restraints for someone in Kevin's condition? We're going to look at everything from top to bottom.
Yeah, and that's what we've been hearing from social media a lot. People talking about the restraint issues. Should there have been better restraints? Any last questions?
You mentioned there's some cooperation with Universal, at least on that basic level, but has there been any other kind of information they provided you, or
Not that we're aware of at this time. Any other questions?
Are you calling for the ride to be retrofitted or?
Well, we're calling for the ride to be, we're calling for the ride to be made safe. And that ride should not go back into operations until all of the investigations have been concluded. Because that's what putting safety first calls for. That's what putting safety first demands. And that's what Carlos and his family asked from day one. Before this ride is opened back up, we need to know what happened and have those issues been addressed so nobody else's family will be crying over their child's grave. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Could you talk a little bit about the state law that you guys think that based upon dealing with the lawyer part?
Yeah, you know, and Attorney Jackson is in conversation with state lawmakers as she did so dutifully previously when Tyree Sampson tragically died 2 years ago at Icon Park. We had the Tyree Sampson law passed, and that law talked about inspecting these theme parks and so forth. However, Universal was one of the corporations that were exempt from that law. And so, as Attorney Greinke previously said as well, we feel that we have to seriously look at that to see if there needs to be greater oversight to prevent anything like this from happening in the future. We want to believe, we want to take Universal at their word that safety is paramount to them. However, the people got to believe that safety is paramount to them. And the fact that this rider who was injured felt that she wasn't being taken seriously when she was complaining about, you all got to do something about this rider, somebody's going to be seriously injured or somebody's going to lose their life. And she said this when the ride first opened, months before Kevin lost his life. You all have to ask the questions to Universal. What was done in April 30th when this lady complained? What was done in May when this lady complained? What was done when people talked about injuries? What was done? Did you do enough? And why did Kevin Rodriguez Zavala die on your ride with multiple blunt force injuries on your ride? We're going to keep you updated. As soon as we get the autopsy results, we will share them with you, because hopefully that could be some answers that can help us, at least our biomechanical experts and everybody, figure out what happened to cause this young man to lose his life, a young man who has so much life to give to his family, to this community, and to the world. We thank you. Please continue to keep the family in prayer. Thank you.